Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special episode of the On the Safe Side podcast, live from New Orleans. Yeah. It is the 2023 NSC Safety Congress Expo, and we're here day one. My name is Barry Botino. I'm an associate editor at Safety+Health. Of course, the official magazine of the National Safety Council and the official magazine of Congress and Expo. And with us today are my colleagues, my fellow associate editors, Kevin Drewley and Alan Ferguson. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Have you had any beignets yet?
Not yet. I've driven or been bussed by or walked by half a dozen. Not yet. I understand they're bringing them here to the floor this afternoon, but I certainly am going to.
Okay. Good to know. Alan?
No, not yet, but I have had a po' boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
With us today is our NSC colleague and friend of the podcast, Jane Terry. Jane is NSC's Vice President of Government Affairs. And hello, Jane. Welcome.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Always great.
Jane, any local specialties that you've enjoyed so far?
I have been lucky enough to get some beignets and some of that coffee with chicory. Highly recommend both.
Excellent.
And I need to get my po' boy in, though, before I leave. Yeah.
Well, Jane, we appreciate you being here with us today for this special episode. We just want to have a casual discussion about Congress, and obviously with you working in D.C., talk a little bit about what's going on in D.C., and obviously there are not a lot going on in D.C. right now, but can you tell us about where things currently stand in Washington?
Well, as you alluded to, the House can't do anything right now because they don't have a speaker. But putting that aside, there is still stuff happening in Washington. I think to focus for this audience on OSHA for a little bit, they're certainly busy. They've got the walk-around proposal that they're accepting comments on. They are also looking at heat standards and potentially promulgating those types of standards. Workplace violence, specifically some nursing groups have been very active in asking OSHA to do more around workplace violence. And certainly they're going to be looking at doing other things as well. And we're lucky enough to have them here with us.
Yes.
The government was funded at the end of September. And so our colleagues from OSHA are going to be here today and hope that y'all will be able to join us later today for OSHA current activities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jane, NSC really has ramped up its efforts and outreach as far as naloxone is concerned. What can you share about what's afoot and what's to come?
This is a fantastic initiative that really gets to the heart of the mission of the National Safety Council. Respond Ready Workplace, and it's at nsc.org/respondready. And we've actually got one of the manufacturers of naloxone here in the NSC booth with us. So if you're at Congress, please stop by and you can meet folks from Emergent that make Narcan. What we've seen from the data is that overdoses leading to death on the job have increased over 500% over the last 10 years. And it accounts for nearly 10% of all fatalities at work. So National Safety Council's saying to everybody, we need to get opioid overdose response medications in workplaces. And we're actually doing a little bit on that in D.C. We've got bipartisan legislation in the House, and then also legislation in the Senate as well that has two parts to it. One, it would direct OSHA to issue guidance to the private sector workplaces to have these medications on hand, people trained to use them. And then the second part of it is a requirement for federal buildings to have these medications on hand and the workforce trained to administer it.
Great.
Now, you mentioned some of this earlier. What else can we kind of expect from Department of Labor, OSHA, kind of down the road here?
Well, I think probably all of our listeners know we are without a Secretary of Labor at this time. Julie Sue has been nominated, but her nomination is stalled right now. It'll be interesting to see if it's able to proceed through the Senate Help Committee. I think all the Republicans have said they would oppose her nomination. So it's what is that path forward? And if the Republicans can get any of the Democrats to side with them, which I think is in the cards potentially, then the Biden administration will have to put somebody else forward for that nomination. But we do have confirmed leadership at OSHA, and they're certainly busy moving some things forward.
Yeah. Are there specific initiatives? I know we've written a lot about heat in Safety and Health magazine lately. Other than, we've discussed already. Any other initiatives that they're really pushing forward right now, as far as OSHA is concerned and the DOL is concerned?
Yeah, the walk-around rule, I think, is a big one. They did reopen the opportunity to comment on heat, too. So what that means is that they've had a group raise some new issues, and they want to go back out to people and ask them to submit their comments again. So I would say anybody, as an individual or an organization, if you have thoughts on this, if you have experience with any of the issues before the federal government, please do share those thoughts, because they actually do matter. People read those comments that are submitted, and it really can help influence what the government does.
Yeah.
That's at regulations.gov.
Regulations.gov, that's right. And you can read what other people say there, too, because it's all part of
Yes.
the public record.
That's right.
Including
That's
the
right.
National Safety Council.
Yeah. Well, last but not least, Jane, we wanted to talk a little bit about the next 2 days here at Congress and Expo. And is there anything that you're looking forward to? Any can't-miss event that you're looking forward to here at Congress?
Well, tomorrow morning in the main hall, I'm very excited. 8 a.m. that morning session is going to focus on respond-ready workplaces. We're going to have the former LA County Sheriff here who gave all of his deputies naloxone. So a workplace example there of really arming your workforce and then training them how to use it. We're also going to have Cody Nagel with us as well. She just left the White House, but she's also a person in recovery. So she has a substance use disorder, and she'll tell her story about how for years she did not want to mention this whenever she was applying to a job, and just about the importance of being in a place that is recovery ready. It'll be a powerful presentation from both of them for sure.
Certainly.
And then we're going to be looking to set a world record for the largest training of people on how to administer naloxone. So don't miss 8 a.m. tomorrow in the main hall.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. I would say that I'm looking most forward to the DE&I panel tomorrow, and that is from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in the New Orleans Theater as well. I remember that session last year. There was not an empty seat in the house, so get there early. So, Kevin, how about you? What you looking forward to?
I'm saying this not because I happen to be moderating it, but it's it's the OSHA's top 10 most frequently cited standards. It's at 1 o'clock tomorrow in the New Orleans Theater, which was where the keynotes have been. It'll be a bittersweet event, though. This will be the first time in some time since, I believe, 2011 that Patrick Kappas, who is the late former Deputy Director of the Directorate of Enforcement Programs, will not be given the data. Sadly, Patrick passed in late April. Very suddenly. He was in his mid-50s, just a few months shy of I believe, his 57th birthday. But we appreciate OSHA's help and cooperation with presenting this data nonetheless, and it's going to be Eric Harbin, who is Regional Administrator for OSHA Region 6, based out of Dallas, who will be presenting the data. And I know, looking out, many folks here and just walking past are certainly aware of this presentation. It's always well attended, and we again appreciate OSHA. And I know Jane would know Eric. I happened to meet him earlier today in happenstance, and oh hey Eric, you see his mugshot or something on our Congress website. But it was good to powwow with him, and I know he's looking forward to this and excited for the presentation.
For sure. Alan, how about
Speaking
you?
of standing room only, that one is always standing room
Very
only.
much so,
So
yeah.
get
That's
there
another
early.
Get there
Learned
early
last
event,
year.
yeah.
Right? Yes, for sure.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the closing keynote, and that's with Cam Stevens. It's titled "All Hands on Tech: Innovation and Collaboration for a Safer Tomorrow." And Cam, who's from Perth, Australia, it's easy for you to say, is president and CEO of the Pocket Knife Group and founder of the Safety Innovation Academy. And he was actually a guest on our podcast preview show.
He certainly was,
Sure was.
yeah.
He
Yeah, he
said,
joined us all the way from Australia late at night,
He
Australia
did later
time.
at 11
yeah.
p.m.
Very
yeah,
accommodating.
11 p.m.
Yeah, and he talked about the untapped potential tech has to impact health and safety outcomes, and he also talked about a failed project, and he kind of came away with that, learning that as an EHS pro, he says we're in a set position to make tech projects successful, and so it was, it's going to be a really, really interesting talk, and like I said, he was a great guest on our podcast, very, very, very helpful and courteous to be up that late.
Absolutely, yeah, and certainly a lot of lessons to be learned and a lot of things to see here at Congress the next 2 days. If you are here in New Orleans, please download the NSC app. The Congress and Expo app is very helpful. If you are not here or if you want to catch up on things you may have missed, safetyandhealthmagazine.com is a good place to do that. We also have a show daily email that goes out. Please feel free to check that out. You can sign up on our website for that, and that will give you all the news from here in New Orleans. On behalf of my colleagues, Kevin and Alan, our friend Jane Terry, thank you for being here today. Thank you, folks, for listening, and please stay on the safe side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.